I don't know if there's a God, but if there is a God, there's certain people that put on this planet and you just know are special, and George was one of them.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to grey as you fade away, as you fade away.
It's the evening of 25th of June 2022. If George Michael hadn't tragically died on December 25th 2016, 6 years ago, he would have been 59. He would have made it to be 59 today. So I thought I'd pop down the bar and have a couple of beers and have a little tribute chat about George. And this little video is a tribute to George Michael and to the fans out there that are watching. Those that know me know that I'm a bit of a Georgie boy fan, a bit of a Wham fan, and some of the best music in my opinion was in from the 80s, Duran Duran, Spandau, Prince, Madonna, and many others. And one of the most iconic, best singer-songwriters of our time, I think, was George. As I say, if he'd been alive today, he would have been 59 today. So I wanted to raise a glass to George Michael. Rest in peace, George. Born in 1963, later became known as George Michael. Had a fantastic life. Jill and I watched the show the other day at the cinema. I think it was a show, it was called Freedom. It's released by Channel 4 in 2016, I do believe. Shortly after he passed away, Channel 4 released his documentary that George had been working on, and I think he directed it himself. They remastered it and re-edited it and added some extra unseen footage and bits and pieces and re-released it a couple of days ago for the cinema. First worldwide showing in the cinema. I think it was on the 22nd of June 2022. So we went and saw that. Bit of a sad show really. It showed clips of George, and it was George narrated a lot of it himself, and some unseen footage, some footage we've seen before in different shows over the years, and some tributes to George. And there's some footage of George talking to the camera and talking about his life and times, obviously not knowing that he was going to pass away and what was going to happen in the future. Very sad show. You could hear the croakiness and the horsiness in his voice, so I've got a feeling it was filmed around the time when he done that. If you're a George fan, you would have seen the news article on TV when he had pneumonia and he was doing an interview outside his home. And a lot of fans and cameras there filming him, and a bit of a croaky voice then. He looked very ill then. I think he recovered shortly after that and done a couple of tours. Jill and I saw him twice. I think one was at Wembley Stadium and one at Wembley Arena, which was fantastic close up. Not so many years ago actually. He was still brilliant then. Not on top form, but still a top singer. Fantastic personality, fantastic charisma. Little did we know, or any of us know, of what happened to him that fatal day, December 25th, 2016. In the UK we got the news. I think I'd had a family meal indoors, Christmas dinner, and we'd all had a few drinks, and someone, it came up on their phone, and I thought it was a bit of a hoax at the time. I thought that was winding me up. No, I was a bit of a George Michael fan. I think we got the news about 4, might have been late, at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. Very sad. And the show we watched the other day, Freedom, it's a remastered one. It's called Freedom Uncut. If you're a George fan, it's well worth watching. I think probably Channel 4 will probably release it very soon on TV. But it was quite nice to go and see it at the same time with all the other fans. I think it was released on the 22nd. I think it was the 22nd. At the same time, all over the world. At the same day, same time. Fantastic seeing it on the big screen. A fitting tribute to the guy. But it cut short. It didn't seem as though it was finished. And it wasn't finished because George was directing it himself. And obviously he never got to finish it himself. And I don't think the programme makers wanted to add any extra bits on. So it just sort of finished. And it made you realise how abruptly his life finished, really. Very sad. and you could hear it in his voice. One thing I did gather from the programme on the cinema screen was how sort of lonely and depressed he was. And you watch the show and there's clips of George, and there's tours, and there's albums coming out, and there's massive stadium tours and massive gigs, and he's playing with the top singer-songwriters, and he's up there with the best. And he's been to court, taken Sony to court and lost the case. He's been on the Parkin show being interviewed, he's been interviewed left, right and centre. And you think, wow, what a life. And then they turn around and say he's 27 years old. It's like, me being my age now, you think, Christ, he's just a kid. So he's done such a massive amount in such a short space of time. So it's little wonder that his life sort of ended as it was. I sometimes wonder, it all went wrong, I think, when his first partner, I think he met his first partner in Rio or somewhere at a gig. I do believe he caught his eye, he said on the show he caught his eye in the front row. I think it was something like that anyway. Don't quote me on that, but I'm not sure about the other boyfriends. I think it's Kenny Goss and a few others, but I'm not sure. The main one was just, I think his name was Anselmo, something like that. And he tragically passed away of HIV/AIDS. And I don't think he ever recovered from that. I think he had a broken heart, and then his mother passed away. And very, very lonely, sad man, really. But he came across in his music. I think it's things like that happened in his life. When you watch the interviews with him and you read the lyrics of his songs, all the Wham days were a lot happier, upbeat music. And after these deaths of his mother and his partners, his music became very sad and melancholy. And but the lyrics were fantastic. If you look at the lyrics. But I wanted to pop down my little bar because I don't know if you know, but this bar's called A Different Corner. The reason I called it A Different Corner was because it's unlike being called Lockdown Bar or all the other names at the time. When I bought this bar a few years ago in my garden, it was in a garden in the corner. And what better name? Being a George Michael fan, I thought A Different Corner, perfect name. So if you look at I've got the board, the sign I made at the front, the pub sign I made at the front, engraved it, routed it out myself, A Different Corner. Anyway, getting a bit late now, so I thought I'd pop down a quick chat. I wanted to ask you, you know, this little video is a little bit of a chat about George, the reason I named my bar, and just talk to you about the programme we saw the other night. If you're a George boy fan, George Michael fan, what's your favourite track? Put some comments below. What was your favourite track? What's your favourite lyrics? I was just starting, I went for my records the other day. Before I did this, I mean, I haven't even got the album called Older. By the way, the programme advertised there's a new album out, I don't know if you're aware, the new album out called Older. Well, it's an old album, but it's a remastered, remixed album, Older. You get different colours, 12-inch, 7-inch, different, no, sorry, just 12-inch, but you get different colours. They do a white, red, the usual black. I don't think there's a picture disc. There's different, you can just buy the album on its own, you can buy a CD collection, a box set, the lot. I think the date that it was going to be released in June. It's been put back to August now for some reason, because overwhelming demand apparently. But I'm not quite sure why they can't release it for those who've already pre-ordered in June and then release it again in August. I'm not sure quite what's going on there. But if you're interested in George Michael at all, interested in buying his music, that's the album to get. New one out. So if you do a search for George Michael, they've got a website, George Michael website. It's for sale on there or pre-order. And I noticed, I didn't realise when before I did this video, I went through my collection. And I realised that I didn't have the album Older myself. But I have got it somewhere. I've got it on a CD. I think I've got Symphonic on CD. I went through a period in the 80s of buying music and albums on vinyl. Obviously CDs went out then, so it was either vinyl or cassette. I won't worry about cassettes too much, but the vinyls are great. CDs came into fashion. CDs were like the thing to buy. Vinyl went back out. Last couple of years, vinyls have seen a bit of a breakthrough. The vinyls coming to the forefront again. And I've been buying a few vinyls lately. So I went for my little collection first of all to show you. I thought I'd show. I think I've got more than this, but someone gave me this magazine, OK magazine, in memory of George Michael, June 25th, 1963 to December 25th, 2016, which I got hold of. If you watch the Channel 4 programme, Freedom or Freedom Uncut, the latest one, Freedom Uncut, it shows you a Rolling Stones magazine, which was out I think it might have been in the 90s. And I've got a copy of that from them. I couldn't find it. I'm gutted. I don't think I've thrown it away. I think it's underneath my pub shed bench. I'm hoping it's under there, hidden away under there, because it's a Rolling Stones magazine with George, a tribute to George when he's still alive. And I think it might be worth a couple of quid. Not I'm going to sell it, of course, but the lovely tribute in this magazine, tribute issue celebrating his life. So this is pretty cool. I think the whole thing's full of George stuff, which is pretty cool. Right, so let's go through the albums that I've got and the music I've bought. 7-inch record. I don't know what I call it, CD. I'm Your Man, written, arranged and produced by George Michael. This is the original. This is the one I bought years ago. At the time, in the 80s, I bought this in the 80s. A-side. A-side, I'm Your Man. B-side, Do It Right. If you're gonna do it, instrumental. Bought this one last year off of, I hadn't had this, so I thought I'd start buying some vinyls again. So I bought this Young Guns Go For It. Wham, the original. Got the two guys on the back there, George and Andrew. Incidentally, in the film, the Channel 4 film that's on the cinema the other day, I'm sure it'll be coming out on TV soon. For some reason, Andrew's not mentioned on it. But I'm not sure if he's going to be mentioned at a later date. We don't know. You'll never know because, as I say, George sadly passed away on Christmas Day 2016. So it wasn't finished, so no one knows whether he was going to mention Andrew or not. In actual fact, George Michael directed that show, and Wham were just mentioned for a couple of minutes at the beginning. The start up didn't really mention. Maybe we would have mentioned Andrew later on. I don't know. Produced by Steve Brown, George Michael. Special thanks to Shirley Lorraine. Young Guns Go For It. Oh, sorry. A side, Young Guns, brackets, Go For It, and then B, Going For It. Right. Everyone's got this, haven't they? Last Christmas by Wham. Probably the best Christmas song and Christmas video ever going. I love that track. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic lyrics. I won't bother you with read the lyrics out. Amazing that was written when he was like, I don't know, 18, 19 or whatever age he was when he wrote that. I don't know. What's this one? Freedom by Wham. Freedom and Freedom Instrumental, written, arranged and produced by George Michael. Photographed by blah, blah, blah. Written, arranged, produced by George Michael. 7-inch. This one I got off eBay recently. Again, this one I got off eBay. So the other ones I've bought originally in the old days. Wham, Bad Boys. That's what started it all, people. Get hold of that if you can. And Bad Boys, written and arranged by George Michael, produced by Steve Brown, co-produced by George Michael. I mean, Andrew's not mentioned at all in these, is he? So, something the forthcoming album, fantastic. As I say, a lot of my albums are on, I bought in the old days, I started buying CDs, so... Faith, George Michael. Album. Side 1, Faith, Father Figure, I Want Your Sex, One More Try. Side 2, Hard Day, Hands Mouth, Look at Your Hands. Monkey, Kissing the Fall. Kissing the Fall is a great track, all great tracks on there. Not a lot on there, to be fair. What we've got in here, is that a lyric sheet? Lyric sheet there. There's the old record there, the album. Got a record player in the corner now, got the other Christmas actually, a couple of Christmases ago. To play these vinyls. I can't play any of these, I'll put it on tonight because unfortunately YouTube won't like it. So put that back. Again, that was the original album I bought. When was that? It must have been the 90s. Let's have a little look at the date on the back. Is there a date on there? Can't see it. Put that over there. Right, what's this one? Freedom, long version by Wham. Again, with the vinyls, what you get is the sleeves, and so you get the lyrics, you know, you get bits of added extras on these vinyls. So what's on the B-side on that? Wham Freedom long mixes on the A side. B side is Freedom instrumental. I don't like it when they do an instrumental, bit of a cheat, bit of a get out. I don't think he ever met Aretha Franklin initially. Well, I think the story goes that they recorded it separately. I think that's the one they recorded separately. It may be another one. He did a couple of duets, didn't he? But Aretha Franklin and George Michael, I'm sure this is one in the old days. It was quite groundbreaking in the old days when he recorded that, because he did actually meet up. I Knew You Were Waiting For Me, extended remix. I Knew You Were Waiting For Me per cappella. Instead of a cappella, what does that mean? Not a lot on that. I Knew You Were Waiting. Another cool track. Wham. Just simply says Wham, this. And in there, again, 12-inch with a sleeve. You got in there a little picture of George and Andrew in there. On there, Battle Stations. Remember Battle Stations? Where Did Your Heart Go? That's a cool track. Where Did Your Heart Go? Edge of Heaven, Wham Rap 86. We've got any albums yet? Careless Whisper, original copy of Careless Whisper, 12-inch. If you bought Careless Whisper in the old days, you had to buy the 12-inch without a doubt. Bit of a dodgy, ripped cover there. A-side, Careless Whisper, extended mix. B-side, Careless Whisper instrumental. A bit sad. Again, nothing on the B-side. I Want Your Sex, George Michael. Not a lot to be said for that. I don't think you can see that in the dark. It's a little bit dark tonight. Well, I wanted a bit of a spooky feel down the bar tonight. Now, what is this? Wham, Make It Big. Yeah, I think this is an album, isn't it? Make It Big. What have we got in here then? Lyric sheet. I'm assuming that's Andrew on one side, George on the other. Good picture that, George. And lyric sheet. What we got on here? If You Were There, good track. Credit Card Baby, do you remember Credit Card Baby? Careless Whisper. What else we got on there? What we got on here? Chorus. If You Were There, Credit Card Baby, Careless Whisper. God, there's not a lot on here, is there? Wake Up Before You Go Go. Everything She Wants, good track. Heartbeat, Like a Baby, Freedom. Done a few dodgy tracks, didn't in the old days as well. Wasn't always perfect, to be fair. Well, let's put that away in there. Not down to George, of course. That's down to the record companies of what they put on the records, I imagine. Right. Last but not least, I love this. What they called in the old days. I'm not sure if you people know how old you are watching this, or if anyone's watching this at all. What they call, I think they call this a gatefold sleeve. So it's got this is what you want to try and get, the gatefold sleeve. So it's a single in there. It's a different corner. Awesome track, a different corner. One of my all-time favourites. So slow. Lyrics are basic. Very plain cover. And open it up. It's just gorgeous photograph. You can't even see it actually. It's just the woods with George. You assume it's George walking down the middle there. A side is a different corner. B side instrumental. Again, bit of a shame. Instrumental on the B side. Chris Porter's mentioned on there again. Written, arranged and produced by George Michael. Engineered by Chris Porter. All instruments by George Michael. I mean, how good's that? All instruments by George Michael. He's a clever guy. This record is dedicated to a memory, it says on there. I'd say love was a magical thing. I'd say love would keep us from pain. Had I been there, had I been there. Because I've never come close in all of these years. You are the only one to stop my tears. And I'm so scared, I'm so scared. I mean, the lyrics are fantastic. It's a shame I've not got older here. I think I've got older and a few other albums in the car on CD. But I will be getting the latest, the new older when it comes out. Part of the Uncut program we saw the other day, the Freedom Uncut program we saw the other day, or Freedom Uncut. It was a fantastic part of it. I've never seen it before. He sat in the studio, and I think he played a little piano piece, Then he played a couple of chords on the guitar, and then apparently he just sent everyone out of the studio, because apparently what he did, not all the time, but quite often, he would write a little bit of music with no lyrics at all. And then he'd write a bit of music, and then he'd kick everyone out of the studio, says on his own, because it was a bit embarrassing apparently. He didn't have any lyrics at all. And then he'd go into the studio, kick everyone out, and he'd go to the microphone and just start singing random garbled rubbish. And he actually said this to the camera. He said if you actually watched it, you'd be laughing, because he would sing rambled garbage rubbish. He never had any lyrics written down. Not all the time, obviously, but he never had the lyrics written down. Quite often, he just, anything that came into his head, he'd sing. So I'd play the track again and again and again. Anything that came in his head, he would sing. Then he sort of got a couple of sentences together. He'd work like that. I think that's how he wrote Old, a couple of bits and pieces on there. Bloody clever guy. Great loss. So if you're a George fan and you're watching this, I just want to come down my little bar, tell you about the bar, why it's called A Different Corner. Tell you about the show we went to see the other day. I've got somewhere the gigs we went to. I've got somewhere the tickets, the stubs, we kept them. So I'm hoping I can dig them out one day, keep hold of them. I'm trying to get hold of the older album when it comes out. I'll try and get hold of that, I think, and to add to this collection. That'll be a collector's item, I think, that one. So that's my 12 inches and albums, etc. on George and Wham. Some of these 7 inches I've just bought recently, like off at eBay last year, I think. But I've noticed the price have shot up a little bit. So anyway, that's my little tribute video to George Michael. Bless him. Andrew's still going strong, but I think you're fine. I mean, George does praise Andrew up a lot. If you're a George fan, you'll know he praised up Andrew a lot, and he said without Andrew, none of this would have happened. But we don't know. No one knows what's around the corner, ever. There's a famous story that Andrew was the loud, cocky one at school. George was the shy, retiring one. They keep telling that story. We've all heard that story before, and I think Andrew was the one that sort of put his hand up, was told by the teacher to look after George when George came to the school as a new kid. Andrew was looking after George, and they met like that at school. And I think George still says, in many interviews I've seen, George says it wasn't for Andrew, they would never have formed a band. I think they formed a ska band initially, done a couple of little tracks, and then they changed it to Wham and done some poppy stuff. The rest, as they say, is history. I remember the day when on TV when I'd done Edge of Heaven. I think Edge of Heaven was the last gig they ever did, and that was the last final. I mean, it's a massive moment in my life. I don't know about you, I don't know how old you are watching this, but if you're a George Michael or Wham fan, or you're my sort of age, you remember in the 80s when they did the Edge of Heaven. Big deal in those days on TV, when they'd done the gig on TV. It was I think it was a black and white video, yeah, they're all 11 and that. And I remember, I think it said come up at the end, and that was like the end, and then you're like, oh no, they split up. But I remember when George done Careless Whisper, I remember saying to some friends he's going to go it alone. He was with Wham at the time. He did his solo single, Careless Whisper, and you knew then and there, when you heard the story of him being 17, 18 on the bus writing the lyrics, writing the music and doing it himself, you knew there and then that he was going to call it a day eventually and go solo eventually. Andrew didn't do a lot. I mean, at the time, a lot of papers, newspapers, I remember it well actually, a lot of papers and newspapers even said he couldn't really play the guitar, Andrew, so I'm not sure if he could have gone or not. They used to make out that he's blanked it a little bit and played a couple of chords, but George was definitely the fighting force, the musician and the songwriter and the singer. I think Andrew was more into mucking about. I mean, the stories go, and Andrew admits this, that they were upstairs, he was upstairs watching football, playing about while George done all the work. But there still weren't a few good out of it, didn't he? And so did George. I think I read somewhere, actually even today now, because of these new films that come out, I think in 2019, so I think they reckon George Michael, or his estate, his music at the moment is still earning £576,000 per day. That's in 2019. His music was earning £576,000 per day since the guy's passed away. So I mean, it's, you know, colossal amounts of money. I'm not sure where it's going now. I'm assuming it's going to the estate, or his mum's died now, his sister's died, bless him. So I think a lot's going to charity, or I think there's a lot of charity organisations set up now. Such a sad, you know. No one will never know what, if he'd been alive today, what would have happened. I quite often watch TV and watch Glastonbury gigs and stuff like that. And people like Paul McCartney still going strong. I don't know what happened to George really. I was talking to Jill the other day about it. his death was still a little bit unexplained, I think. If they had said he died of a drugs overdose or drink overdose, I would have understood it a bit of a vague. I think he sort of died of a fatty liver, heart attack or something. They never actually said, did they? Not officially. Same with sort of Prince and a few others that have. Don't know. I mean, the last couple of photographs that I saw on the news and that, I think he liked a bit of a smoke, and I think he put on a bit of weight, but haven't we all at that age? I think he 50 odd years old is no age to pass away, especially with all that money. I mean, you think it'd bring you happiness, but obviously it doesn't, does it? When you've got so much fame and adulation, you can't go out the front door without being recognised. It must be quite awful at that stage. I think he got to super level, didn't he? So he wasn't just famous. He wasn't just like one of these people on TV that can wander in the supermarket. He got to super level where you can't even go out the door. And I think he said he was at his happiest when he was with in later life. On this documentary we saw the other day, after his couple of partners had passed away, I think he said in later life, I think the happiest he was just walking his dog. But then you turn around and you got the paps around you taking pictures and photographs and hounding you and hassling you. And, but yeah, he had a bit of a dodgy life, old George, I think, when you look back with the toilet situation, and obviously he made good out of that, got the track out of that, the music out of that, didn't he? Let's Go Outside, I think it was. And then he's caught smoking the old wacky back. He smashed his carpet up a couple of times, didn't he? I think he'd done community service in the UK for that, sweeping the streets or whatever, painting, washing off graffiti or something. Or, bit of a sad life, old George, I'm afraid. Gutted. So June 25th, it would have been his birthday. Well, it is his birthday today, but he would have been celebrated today. Who knows? Things can be so different. You know, fame, money and fame doesn't always bring you happiness. I will say one thing, when you look back at his music and his lyrics and the life he's had, he's done more than any of us will ever do or ever dream of in his short lifespan. And it's not about the money, I'm just talking about his music and his lyrics. So he was exceptional and he was special. So he was I don't know if there's a God, but if there is a God, there's certain people that put on this planet and you just know are special, and George was one of them. So enough of my rambling on, people. Happy birthday, George. Rest in peace, buddy. Cheers. Here's to you. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you for watching. Love you all.